With a market cap of over $5 billion, Dogecoin has been taking mainstream media by storm, with its huge 700% increase in price over the past month, mainly due to very notable people on social media simply just mentioning it, as well as starting an entire movement being sparked behind good old Reddit. So today, I'm going to be giving you a very brief rundown of the history behind a Dogecoin, as well as its purpose within the crypto space, and where we're at today pretty much. Trust me, this will definitely end up surprising you. So all the way back in 2013, Dogecoin was birthed, essentially in the middle of two very controversial topics, or really very important topics to the internet at that time, which was Doge, which was like an internet meme of a Shiba Inu, which is a dog, as well as cryptocurrency. Because even at the time Bitcoin was created way back when, about 4 years prior, cryptocurrency was still kind of the talk of the town around that time as well. And it was actually made by Jackson Palmer, an Australian entrepreneur with no prior experience in the blockchain space, along with Billy Marcus, who was actually the one who made Dogecoin itself by simply just editing the code behind Bitcoin, using what we like to use on Chrome sometimes, Control F, finding anything named Bitcoin and changing it to Dogecoin, as well as a couple of other parameters like how many is actually made and all that stuff. But although it was a meme, it was actually created with the intent to drive more awareness of the innovation that was Bitcoin. So at the end of the day, they were believers in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. However, their main point wasn't for Dogecoin to replace Bitcoin. It was actually made for like some sort of advertisement for Bitcoin and blockchain itself. And I'm going to quote something from Vice. It went on to become an educational gateway for many people dipping their toes into the world of cryptocurrencies for the first time, thanks to its low price and welcoming community, mainly through the Reddit community. And as I mentioned, Reddit is really what sparked the birth of Dogecoin, and really not sparked the birth, but sparked like the movement behind it. That's where Dogecoin really became big. And coincidentally, that's kind of where we're at today as well. But moving on, it was just a couple months after the creation of Dogecoin, and they were at the point where they were actually able to donate about 26 million Dogecoins to Jamaica's bobsled team to give them the ability to join the Olympics that year. Yeah, that was a lot of stuff I just threw at you. But essentially, the Jamaican bobsledding team had actually, I think it was for once, made it to be able to go to the Olympics. They were good enough to go, but they couldn't afford it. So the Dogecoin community, or really people, like Jackson Palmer, Billy Marcus, those guys, they were able to throw up all this Dogecoin together and send it to them. And it really ended up paying off because I think it amounted to over $20,000 that they ended up sending at the time. And they essentially did something good for someone else around the world using this meme crypto, using a little coin with a dog on it. So I think that was really cool to see that happen. But not only that, too, I think at some point a NASCAR car actually had a picture of the Dogecoin on the front of its hood. So that really shows you kind of how far the adoption went with Dogecoin. Before we get too far with the positive things, let's kind of focus more on the money. So as time went on, it was pretty much inevitable that this cryptocurrency would not only become a form of transferring value like any other currency, but it also started to become an investment. And this, of course, actually scared Jackson Palmer and Billy Marcus because, again, they didn't make it initially to have people speculate on. They didn't make it to have people buy it from them. It wasn't an ICO. There was no pre-mine. They did it just out of sheer, because who cares, That's why. And as well, of course, as to show people that cryptocurrencies, are essentially the future through this meme one. But naturally, human greed takes over whenever there is money involved in anything, large or small. And the newer people getting into the community were really just focusing, of course, their sights on the price of Dogecoin. So rather than really the technology behind it, which is essentially just a Bitcoin code, they were really just focusing on the price of it, even though it wasn't worth much. It's still technically not worth that much, but that's what they were focusing on. But Marcus, at this point, again, one of the initial builders of Dogecoin and really the guy that made it, was heavily against this. And after arguing with people on Reddit, he decided that it wasn't worth it and actually left the project. Palmer also didn't end up staying too long after. He'd also left as well, since he didn't agree with the way that essentially things were going for Dogecoin and the community behind it. And they ended up leaving right around, I think it was like 2015, end of 2014. I think it was pretty much 2015. So the project was they only really stayed on the project for about like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. But to this day, neither Palmer or Marcus hold any significant amount of Dogecoin. And this was confirmed by them because they've been interviewed multiple times ever since they left by so many different articles. But I can believe it. I mean, they initially made it as a joke to bring more awareness to Bitcoin and not to make money. So I could definitely see them not, intentionally keeping a stash for themselves because what would be the point? But the point where we're at now, actually, where we are now, Dogecoin is probably one of the most listed coins in all of these exchanges, including Robinhood, being the most notable as well as the most easiest to access, especially after this whole GME situation just happened the other week. Dogecoin essentially was like, I had to be the most top traded crypto on their platform. And people were essentially driving the price up. All the way up. People were trying to hit it to $1. I don't know about that. I mean, even the people on TikTok were making their own little TikToks about pumping it all the way to $1. If we get it to $1, we'll be rich. And that's, and I think that's what Jackson Palmer and Billy Marcus was trying to avoid: speculation, pumps and dumps, and all that stuff. Because they did mention actually way back when to tell people that, hey, although Dogecoin is a cryptocurrency, be careful with these scam groups that are trying to pump and dump it. Because that's one thing you'll notice with the chart for Dogecoin is that it essentially looks like just peaks after peaks because it's always been pumped and dumped because of how much supply there is and all that stuff. But not only that, you heard me mention before that there are other stars and whatnot, or I guess you could say famous people shilling it. Dogecoin overlord Elon Musk. This guy is literally on a rampage. I don't think I've ever. He's got to be the funniest, the best CEO I've ever seen in my life. This guy just trolls. This Twitter page is just filled with talking about Dogecoin, essentially shilling it, not telling anyone to buy it as far as I'm concerned, because I don't think that would look good on him. But every time he tweets about Dogecoin, the price starts to pump. People kind of get in, and all that other crazy stuff. I mean, even Soulja Boy was talking about it, right? So Dogecoin at this point, it's bigger than life. I think the real question is, why is it so popular, right? Why is it so popular? Well, essentially, number one, it was early. 2013 it was made, and although there were other cryptocurrencies made before it, like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still here, so. But although, it was really one of the earliest cryptocurrencies, so that definitely helps it a lot. A lot of the earlier cryptocurrencies that are still building to this day are still around. Number two, it's marketing. Essentially, their marketing was spectacular. You have the Doge dog, right? The meme, and that marketing alone is amazing. And number two, it's a cryptocurrency. It's a coin, and that's one of the most pretty much talked about things I would think now, 2020, 2021. So it's no surprise that people are talking about Dogecoin right now. But not only that, and lastly, it's pretty much what I just said, but it's a meme, bro. At the end of the day, people like memes, people like laughing. As much violence and cruelty and messed up stuff that happens in this world, people like to at the end of the day, just laugh. And how can you not when you see a meme coin, a coin with a dog on it worth $6 billion? Beautiful. That's the biggest meme I've ever seen in history. Oh my God. At the time of making this video, it's right around 5 cents, which is absolutely disgusting. Just looking at this chart, that line is crazy. It literally went up about 700% in a day. I know I said in a month earlier in the video, but it literally went up 700% in one day. And you can see by this chart that it's definitely true. But that's the thing. So, the fact that this coin, this Dogecoin, this meme coin is worth almost $6 billion in value. I know that it doesn't sit well with Jackson Palmer or Billy Marcus, but it's, at the end of the day, things are only worth what people assign value to, and people seem to value Dogecoin quite a bit. But the one thing I did want to mention, actually, if you do plan on actually getting more Dogecoin, is take a look at this Dogecoin rich list here. The supply of Dogecoin is pretty centralized. You'll see that one address alone has 28% of the supply, which is worth around $1.7 billion. This guy must be the happiest person on the planet. Because this skyrocketed in price. This really skyrocketed over the past month. But I would say, just be careful, all right? Don't invest anything you're willing to lose, especially on Dogecoin. I love it. I had a couple thousand Dogecoin back. I think it was a couple weeks ago, and I sold it after I went to 2 cents. But you know what? Listen, bro, I'm not mad. It's not an investment to me. This is just just funny, I guess. And that's what I hope that you guys see that as well. But with that being said, that's the brief history behind Dogecoin. I think it'll be around for quite some time. Again, Not as a serious investment, of course, but just as a way to this as a way for people to kill some time, I guess. I don't know. And pump and dump. So that's why I would say to be careful with it. And let me know down in the comments below, do you have any Dogecoins? You don't have to divulge how many, but if you have any, love to know. That being said, like the video if you learned anything today, and subscribe if you want to see more crypto-related content hosted by ya boy. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.